You're a veterinarian who can cure cancer. But after healing your blind girlfriend's AIDS, she turned around and, to marry into a rich family, bribed 18 patients you'd saved, dragged you to court, and claimed you were practicing medicine without a license. She wanted you locked up for 50+ years. And you just laughed. Because you had just unlocked a disease transfer system. No matter the illness, one touch from you and it's gone. But you can also pass whatever you've absorbed right on to someone else. In just 1 month, you'd healed more people than most doctors do in a lifetime. You thought you'd become a hero. Instead, every single one of those people sold you out for money, biting the very hand that saved them. Fine. If kindness doesn't pay, then it's time to return the favor. In the courtroom, you turned to the first victim and asked through gritted teeth, "Grandma Du, look me in the eye. Did I actually hurt you?" Back then, you felt sorry for the old lady. You treated her for free and even paid out of your own pocket. And this is what you get. That's right, you tricked me into drinking fake medicine. It didn't work, and you scammed over 100 grand of my retirement savings. You ungrateful little rat. Give me back my money. Grandma Du snapped, went full unhinged, charged at you and slapped you hard across the face. That slap echoed through the whole room. You were so done you started laughing, but that slap woke something up in you. Your eyes went ice cold. Ding. Heart disease successfully transferred. Virtue. 1. Ding. Brain cancer successfully transferred. Virtue. 1. Ding. Hypertension successfully transferred. Virtue. 1. Current virtue. 96. Every single one of those diseases was pulled from her in the first place. Now she's getting them back. Every last one. Grandma Du had no idea. She was still out here trying to cause a scene, thinking the bigger the tantrum, the bigger the payout. A cop finally had to drag her away. The next 17 victims were somehow even worse, each one uglier than the last, making up wild accusations just to squeeze out more cash. What they didn't know was that with every lie they told, you were quietly giving them back every disease they ever had. Terminal illness? Here you go. No illness to return? Then have double. The judge's cold voice cut through the room. Defendant, how do you plead? Just as you were about to speak, a voice rang out. Wait! Everyone turned. A tall, stunning woman rushed into the courtroom. You recognized her immediately. Si Ya. The last patient you'd healed 3s. She had a rare heart defect that required expensive imported meds just to stay alive. You cured her with one touch. She tried to give you $1 million afterward. You said no. The last person you expected to see here. Before you could even process it, Si Ya stood up in front of everyone. I'm here to represent the defendant. The whole room went silent, including you. She handed the documents to the judge. Your Honor, these transaction records prove my client earned no more than 3,000 yuan. There was zero harm caused to any of the plaintiffs. That said, due to unlicensed practice, my client is willing to accept full monetary penalties and provide satisfactory compensation. The 18 plaintiffs freaked out immediately. No way! He needs to go to prison! Make him pay and do time, or we'll never forgive him! Si Ya slowly turned toward them, eyes sharp. Everything said in this courtroom carries legal liability. Every amount you've claimed can be traced. Are you absolutely sure your statements are accurate? All 18 of them went pale, because every number they'd thrown out was completely made up. Si Ya pressed on. For my client's mistakes, we are prepared to offer each plaintiff a 5 million yuan settlement. The room went wild, coughing, sputtering, barely containing themselves. Fine. As long as he compensates us, we forgive him. 3 bangs of the gavel. The judge delivered the verdict. The defendant is found guilty of unlicensed medical practice and fraud. Total compensation, 5.69 million yuan. Lifetime ban from practicing medicine in Longguo. The moment the gavel dropped, the courtroom and the live stream both exploded. That's it? He just pays some money and walks free? Get this clown out of Longguo. You walked out of that courtroom in a storm of hate and insults. Then, to repay Si Ya, you tore the settlement letter into 3 pieces and gave them to her. Told her each slip was good for one favor anytime she needed. Si Ya was confused, but she took the slips anyway out of politeness and left. What she didn't know was that those 3 scrappy little pieces of paper would one day be the most sought-after items among the wealthiest power players in all of Longguo. Dr. Song, could I have a word? Out of nowhere, a white-bearded foreign man appeared behind you, flanked by 2 bodyguards. You turned around, totally unsurprised. His name was Herbert. Terminal cancer, stage 4. Western medicine had given up on him, so he came to Longguo on a long shot and ran into you. After you cured him, Herbert offered you a 9-figure annual salary to come work in his country. You turned him down. Back then, you still had that whole save-the-world idealism thing going on. But this time, you looked him dead in the eye. 1 billion in Liguo currency. 6 months from now, I'll come practice medicine in Liguo for 1 year under a student visa. Why 6 months? Because there were debts to collect before you left. Herbert didn't even hesitate. Done. Just like that, you watched 1 billion hit your account, walked into the nearest dealership, dropped 1.6 million on a Panamera, and felt something you'd never felt be. You laughed at yourself. Damn, broke mentality hits different. I've got a cheat code system and I'm out here trying to be a charity worker. Your eyes went cold. Time to go settle some scores. Meanwhile, in a cheap rental apartment, Zhuer, you're sure these herbs are the secret behind all those miracle cures? A guy in a designer suit squinted at the plants laid out in front of him. His medical background made it obvious. These were just basic supplements. Wu Yaxue pouted and acted offended. I betrayed the man I loved for you. You still don't trust me? Liu Xiangfeng hid the flash of disgust in his eyes and wrapped an arm around her. I just want to make sure everything's airtight. Our whole future depends on this. She nodded. Trust me. Every time that idiot would examine a patient, he'd have them drink a bowl of this stuff after. He even healed my eyes the same way. He seriously tried to tell me it was some kind of superpower. She laughed. What a joke. With that, Liu Xiangfeng's last doubt disappeared. A smirk crossed his face. His hands started wandering, but just as things were about to escalate, the door burst open. Someone who had absolutely no business being there was standing right in front of them. You, in a Panamera. Not happy. Both of them nearly jumped out of their skin, your eyes locked onto Liu Xiangfeng. This guy had come to you before, claimed to be from the Liu Pharma Group, wanted to buy your secret formulas to help the people of Longguo. His offers went from a few thousand all the way up to 100K, but you didn't have any formula, so you passed. Now seeing this scene, even an idiot could connect the dots. These two were behind everything. Liu Xiangfeng didn't even flinch. He pulled Wu Yaxue closer and walked right up to you. I gave you a chance and you blew it. You're a nobody. You think you can go up against Liu Pharma? I could bury. He reached out and slapped you across the face, or just to rub it in. You smiled. Big mistake touching me, buddy. Ding. Erectile dysfunction successfully transferred. Virtue, 1. Ding. Rabies successfully transferred. Virtue, 1. Ding. AIDS successfully transferred. Virtue, 1. Your virtue dropped from 66 all the way down to 44. Wu Yaxue dropped the act entirely. She looked at you and sneered. Songbing, the only reason I ever dated you was because my eyes were deteriorating. I needed your corneas in 3 years. You should actually be grateful you stumbled onto those cures and fixed my eyes. Otherwise, those eyes of yours would already be gone. Then she turned to Liu Xiangfeng with a soft smile. Now, everything I am belongs to my Liu Xiao. And then she kissed him, right in front of you. Cold-blooded. What Wu Yaxue didn't know, of course, was that Liu Xiangfeng was already HIV positive, and as the two of them went at it, you casually brushed past Wu Yaxue. Ding! Corneal degeneration successfully transferred. Virtue, 1. You only gave back the eye disease you'd originally taken from her. As for the rest, Liu Xiangfeng's got that covered. No need to rush her death. Where's the fun in that? Liu Xiangfeng glanced over at you with a smirk. Why are you still here? Enjoying the show? You sat down on the couch without missing a beat. Go ahead, don't mind me. I'm your biggest fan. Both of them just stared at you, completely thrown off. Is this guy seriously unhinged right now? Wu Yaxue shot you a venomous look, then turned back to Liu Xiangfeng and cooed. Babe, ignore the sick loser. Let's head back to your place. Way better than this dump. Sure. You watched them walk out together, let out a cold laugh, and left the apartment. But just a few steps out the door, you felt it. Dizzy, lightheaded, your face draining of color. Then the system kicked in. Host, you carry a disease-prone constitution. Absorbing illness builds virtue and strengthens your body, but transferring disease depletes it. If your virtue hits 0 or goes negative, host may die. You took a sharp breath. Guess it's time to start racking up some good deeds. You were still running the numbers in your head when a faint whimper stopped you. You shone your phone light toward the sound, a filthy, battered little mutt, barely alive in a drainage ditch. All foe. Someone did this on purpose. You sighed, reached in, and pulled it out. The moment you touched the dog, the system fired up. Ding, host detected. Species, dog. Total conditions identified. 8. Skin disease, eye disease, respiratory infection, pharyngitis. You pressed your hand against the little dog and activated the absorption. Within seconds, all 8 conditions were cleared. Your virtue jumped from 43 to 51, and the dog, it knew. It wagged its tail and just kept licking your shoes. You stood there for a moment. Even a stray dog knows how to be grateful. So what's wrong with people? You loaded the little dog into the car and headed for a 5-star hotel. The moment you pulled up, a female concierge rushed over to greet you, then completely froze when she saw the two of you. A Panamera, a scraggly, dirty dog. You in the most unbothered fit imaginable. The guests nearby all did a double take. The contrast was too much.